Hey everybody, Kerzac here again. I'm here to bring a rare special kind of review. Today I'll be reviewing all of the Combaticons, but I will be doing them each individually first, and then kind of breaking up the reviews, but it's going to mainly be like one long review broken up into smaller pieces. So it's going to be a little bit interesting. Also, because I'm doing an extra long review, I'm not actually in my backyard today. I live in Florida, it's too hot outside for all this. It's the middle of summer as far as Florida is still concerned. So inside we are, not as good lighting, but I'll do my best. So I figured we'd start off with the actual vehicle comparison for everybody. I will be starting off in this order, starting with Blastoff, then Swindle, Vortex, Brawl, and then finally Onslaught, and then we'll do Bruticus. But the best way to start, I felt, was to show off all of them together in vehicle mode. And you can see, of course, they all look pretty good together. They look like a pretty fearsome force. I think definitely the best vehicle mode probably goes to Brawl. He definitely looks the most like his original character while also having a pretty decent vehicle mode, but we'll get to him later. But they do look all good together, so let's get everybody else out of the way now. Vortex and Swindle. So finally we'll come to Blastoff here. Go ahead and remove his accessories. So we just see him by himself. And he looks, well, he does look like a Blastoff. Blastoff, of course, in the cartoon was a space shuttle, hence the name Blastoff. Here, he's a fighter jet. And of course, that's because they were reusing the aerial bots mold. And in some ways, this makes sense because all the Combaticons are based on military vehicles. You know, we have a military helicopter. We have like a military we have a tank, of course. Swindle's like a military little jeep, and then of course Onslaught was like a trailer truck that carry stuff such as Brawl in Vortex. And Blastoff being a shell didn't really make much sense, but the G1 figure was a shell. Here he's a fire jet. I can kind of understand what they were going for, trying to make him more match the others, plus not having to come up with another new mold when they already had to make Brawl. So, but he's also pretty clearly just an aerial bot. Like, there's nothing changed about him. He's literally a repaint of Quickslinger, I think he was called for the aerial bots. The one who was an exclusive that was really expensive to get for the Combiner War set. And the one that we originally got replaced with Alpha Bravo. Because even the head isn't a new mold. It's just, like, they didn't remold his head for Blastoff. In fact, they didn't even use the head that makes sense. Because Blastoff has a, we'll get to that later, but Blastoff had a mouth plate and this figure doesn't. But, you know, we'll get past the what if free and look at Blastoff himself. And he's pretty nice looking. He's a little brown jet. He still has all the same detailing as the aerial bot. The paint is a little bit different. We have like some kind of gunmetal gray going down the edge of the wings, followed by silver and purple stripes with the Decepticon sigil. Looks pretty good. Same kind of gunmetal gray going up the tail fin there with the Decepticon sigil again. Little tail fins here. Some light purple, lavender purple for the cockpit. Looks nice, except for the split down the middle where the plastic is. Do have a little rubber nose cone. Mine's a little off-center from sitting in a box. Might be able to fix that. And along the bottom we have a robot folded up. So kind of all the expected stuff when it comes to plane Transformers. He does have some accessories. He has this little gun, which is once again from the aerial bots. Now instead of black, it's gray, done with gunmetal gray paint. Very weird, but looks good. You can peg it under the wing. Unfortunately, this was before Siege where we have all that multiple peg hole stuff, so it could really only go under the wing like that. Same with the hand-foot weapon. Kind of looks like a double-barreled flamethrower of some kind. You can peg it on the other side. Double weaponry. I don't see how he's going to fly with all that, though, but you can put both weapons on him at least. And he does have some landing gear. It's no wheel, and there's no back landing gear. He just sits on like the tips of his feet, what will be his feet. And that's all there is to him. Not bad, but he's not great. Combiner Wars definitely is kind of feeling its age at this point compared to like a lot of the Siege stuff. Transformation is pretty simple. We're going to go ahead and get him into his leg mode. So full landing gear, go and fold in the tail fins, or not tail fins, but the wings. Take the jet, just go ahead and bring it on back and down. It's going to actually slide in right there. Fold the back fin up. This part's kind of tricky because you have to flip around the head to get the port out, but in order to do that, you have all this leg stuff in the way, so you actually have to open up a lot, like pull out the arms, pull out the shins just a little bit, because those shins are just long enough to block from the piece from flipping out. But once you do all that, you can flip the connector port out, get the shins back in there, get the arms back in there, all like that. plug it in the foot. There you have a leg. It's a pretty solid looking leg mode, not too bad. With how, considering it's using most of the jet, it actually does make a really solid leg compared to a lot of later figures like we got in Power of the Primes. So not too bad. We'll go ahead and give him to his arm mode. Arm mode, you're going to want to go ahead and flip the connector out like this. You're kind of mostly transforming him into robot mode. Flip the wings out. Bring the arms up. Go ahead and get the tail fins up because they give it a good grip to sit there and pull up. Bring these pieces out. Bring these down because they're clipped kind of right into these little tabs right here. And all this will come out on a double strut. And go flip that back in. Tabs in. Flip the tail fins back down. Rotate. Bring the arms up like that. And you're going to fold them up next to the cone. Same with the shoulders over here. Up. Bring them up next to the cone. Kind of makes a more solid looking shoulder. The wings you're supposed to leave out, but I like to flip them in like this. Kind of makes it look a little bit more like a shuttle because now you don't have wings sticking off like a jet. And then from foot to hand, you just flip out the fingers using a tab there. Fold this out. Flip thumb up, then bring it on down. And it gives you a hand. Plug it in. And there you have your arm mode. I'll go over articulation when it's combined with Bruticus, but once again, pretty decent looking arm. As far as combiner pieces go, Blastoff here is actually pretty good. So I'll give him points for that. So getting him to robot mode is pretty easy. Especially from here. Just flip this around for his waist. Flip the tail fins on back. Split the legs so we can get him standing. Take the wings, flip them on back. Arms are going to want to bring out to the sides here. Bring them on down on these little struts. Straighten out the arm. Straighten out the arm. Flip this piece in and flip the head around. And there you have Blastoff in his robot mode. And he actually looks pretty good. I mean, for somebody who's not technically supposed to be part of the Combaticons with this kind of mold, he actually looks pretty good. They did try their best to kind of make them look like the traditional Blastoff. For size comparison, we'll get to the full robot mode of all the other Combaticons later when we get to Onslaught, but here is a modern Seeker Earthfry Thundercracker, not Starscream. You can see he's a head shorter, so he still falls into like the Deluxe class compared to current Voyagers. And like I mentioned before, he is a straight up repaint of Quickslinger, so he has Quickslinger's face. So this is a little bit unfortunate because if they had used, say, Fireflight, he actually would have looked like even close. He would actually look closer to Blastoff because Blastoff in the cartoon had like a goggles and a battle mask look going on. So I don't know why they chose to use this head, especially since the mold is exactly the same, pretty much exactly the same for both except for the head. So I'm not sure why. I mean, he does have the goggles. Kind of the sunglasses goggles kind of look going on, done in lavender there, and he does have gunmetal gray for the face, and that all looks good. I just wish they had used the other head. I guess because the flat sides actually look a little bit more accurate to, like the actual head sculpt, except for the mouth, looks pretty close to Vortex, or not Vortex, Blastoff. So I guess that's what they were going for. I don't know why they could have just crammed, say, Vortex and Blades' head on there, but you know, there's always something to complain about. But no, he looks pretty good actually. A lot of the new stuff has been exposed. You see some detailing on the arms, some gunmetal gray for the hands with a little blaster sticking out. A nice like metallic purple done for the lower waist here, which just makes it really shiny, nice looking. Same with the gunmetal gray right here and yellow, and some yellow on the shins. And I do like how they break the legs up. And of course, gunmetal black for gray for the feet. So all that looks pretty good. Articulation is pretty standard for Combiner Wars. Ball jointed head so it can look all around. Ball jointed arm, so full rotation and all that. Swivel here. Plastic ratchet for the elbow. So you can get 90 degrees and it actually holds pretty well. It's a little bit wobbly as you can see, but it's not loose. You get waist, although how it's centered looks a little bit weird, so certain directions does make it look a little off. So just all up to you on how you want to use it. Ball jointed hips, so you can go forward and back. Go out that far, swivel it right below the ball joint, 90-degree hinge at the knee, so all that good stuff. Stuff that was pretty standard by the time Combiner Wars came out, although the waist joints are much appreciated, but those are also mainly for the arm mode, so that's usually why all the Combiner Wars got pretty decent articulation. And of course, you can bring in his weapons, and he can hold them, and he looks pretty good holding them. And that's about it for Blast Off. He's your traditional Combiner Wars figure. He's Fireflight, just repaint. He's Fireflight with a remolded head, or Quickslinger repainted, whichever way you want to say it. Pretty standard stuff. You could store the weapons if you want on the back, much like how Fireflight could. Like so, if you want. But yeah, pretty decent figure. I still wish they had come out, like, now we have the Prime Wars Blast Off, but he's so expensive. Like, this guy isn't too cheap either. I think he's around $40 online right now to get. But the Prime Wars Trilogy one, the one that's more accurate to the cartoon, costs a lot more. It costs like $150 now. It's ridiculous. So, it's kind of up to you which one to get. If you're looking for cheap, definitely go for this one. If you want accuracy, go for the Prime Wars Trilogy. Pretty obvious stuff there.